So let me just ask real quickly before we turn it over to Mike and ask him some stuff. For you guys, what is your interaction with the library like? Library, that's where they have all those books, or hey, I integrate all this stuff with it. Just, whatever, 15, 30 seconds or so. Tim, what's your interaction with the library?
I'm building a working relationship with Mike. He's been real helpful on. I'm going to create a little area with books from the program that when students don't have books for the quarter, they can run over there and borrow a book, or at least take a look at it physically, in hand for a time, if you will. So that's something that he's been helpful in helping me get going.
Great. Brian, how about you?
I have not done a lot with the library yet.
We still like you.
I know.
I mean, Mike may not, but I do.
I've actually only been in that building twice in a year, so okay. I'm still working on it. I'm going to get over there, and I got to do the same thing as Tim. I need to kind of maybe get some books in the library so students are able to put a hand on one if they need one or something.
Awesome. So Mike will talk about some of this stuff as we go along, but yeah, I mean, my takeaway for all you guys is send an email to Mike and let him do the work. I say that all the time. Go, hey, dude, what can you do for my program? And let him do the work rather than you feel like you have to have this fully formulated 17-point plan to send off to him. Just send up a, hey, dude, let's chat. And either he or one of the library staff will be happy to reach out with you. So we'll do that. Nancy, how about you?
I've been using the South Campus Library for my office hours each Tuesday. And so that's nice to be located there and have Beth there as some resources and use the computers. And so that's a great resource because I don't have an office space out at South Campus, and the library is perfect. And I think next quarter, Beth and I were talking, and I'm going to try to hold, somewhat of a class and have them come into either the library or the library computer lab on Tuesdays to get a little more participation.
Great. All right. Nasser, how about you?
All right. Actually, I've had a wonderful experience with Mike and the library from the beginning, but especially last quarter when we designed a class that the librarian was enrolled as an assistant teacher, basically, or as a course librarian. So they could reach out to the librarian through Canvas and also on campus appointment-based meetings. And the class was the name of the class is the geriatric patient needs. So where the students are required to kind of do a little research and write an essay and a thesis to do the work site properly and according to the standards. So Mike was a great help. I was like at the end of the quarter, because each student will stand in front of the class and deliver a presentation for 5 minutes. I was like speechless after this. I mean, it was so amazing. Like this relationship between the instructor and the librarian and the library actually was so fruitful. I mean, I'm going to do that again next quarter, by the way. So yeah, that was my experience. Even as a student at Bates back in the day, I had really great experience. I mean, Mike is really a great help. Our library is a great resource for our students. I didn't regret going to the library. I go on my own, basically, when I was a student. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. So that's great. That kind of gives us a feel for where we're at as a group. Mike, as we turn it over to you, I think the first question to ask before you go into the formal presentation, just in case there's any clarity, I know you've changed your hours and your processes and your policies so much over the last 18 months. So why don't you kind of give us a quick snapshot? Is the library open? What can you do? Are students allowed to come in? What's the status of the library as of whatever we're at, November 10th, 2021?
Oh. Thanks, Tim. I wonder, am I able to share my screen yet? Can you guys see a slide from me with the library hours?
Yes, I see you.
Good. Well, that's about the state of it. We're we're back, and it feels like when there's a forest fire and everything gets just burnt to cinders, and then very gradually, the saplings come back and the little shoots come up out of the ground, and then the little creatures, your squirrels and your rabbits and your foxes start coming back. And I think we're at that stage right now, where after so many years of unrestricted library access, we had that long stop, and now it's rebuilding bit by bit, like a forest regrowing. And we're open regular hours Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday at Central now. And there's your contact info and your hours. I'm at downtown 8:30 to 4:30, and I'd love to get a call anytime at 7301 about anything. And Brian, by the way, if you wanted to send along just some links from Amazon, say, to some books or materials that might be helpful to your students, you don't have to do anything else. I'll just look at, here's some links. I see who sent them. I'll know what to do. And then when they're part of the library collection, then I'll just write back and say, here they are. They're ready for it. Tell your students they can come get them. So it could be as simple as that. But we're back. We're beautiful. It's the best sort of work in the world to do. And yeah, students can come any campus just about any day except for Friday at Central. So thanks for asking, Tim.
And we didn't rehearse that in advance at all, by the way. Completely impromptu and unscripted. He just happened to have the slide ready to go.
It's all coinky dink. Shall I roll ahead?
Yeah, I was gonna say, go ahead. Tell us. We're here to learn about LIbGuides. What are they? What's the benefit of them? What can I use it for in my program?
Very good. Let's see here. I'll just go to the next slide. Go to the next slide. Ah, yes, good. Yes, it's Wings and Wisdom. And there's my extension. So we'd like to know, I'll present what the guides are and how, if you wish, you could have one made for you. I think it's a fair question to ask, why all these library sources ended up moving into Canvas fairly recently. And I think you've all guessed the answer. It's the answer to so many things these days. Every problem we've got, there's a single answer, right? And there it is. And because of COVID, the Canvas and online learning became the single point of access for so many students to get library resources and information. And so we came in and rolling with it. We went with the whole pandemic theme. And by the way, this really happened. Those are real T-shirts. Communications designed them, and we had a dozen made up and gave them away in raffles on Student E-News. So trying to just flow with it. And it's been a year and a half dark, and now the library's being open. It's terrific to have people back. And like I said, bit by bit, they'll keep coming. But it was because of the information needs didn't stop during the pandemic, and students needed our support, and we're able to deliver it electronically. And thanks to the Online Learning Center, all these guides, each one of them is like a mini website, like a thing unto itself, like its own information universe. For courses, specific courses, or for general topics or program areas. So LibGuides are a web-based content management system and publishing tool that the college pays for out of the library budget. The library builds these guides by focusing on different subject areas or specific courses and assignments or the general topics or whatever might be helpful. They're made to help our students and our employees and colleagues find good resources for a subject, a course, or an assignment. Oh, a little late on that. So why should you pay attention for the next 20 minutes or so? Well, I'd like to make a case for that. But first, to acknowledge that when it comes to essential learning, it's your curriculum. That's what's essential for your program, students. And we understand that. You don't really need to have a LibGuide, and you're doing fine without one. But I'd like to share half a dozen reasons why a LibGuide could be nice to have. For instance, the vast legacy of all the information in the human record accumulated over all these centuries is a lot of it's digitized, and we go to Google. And that's controlled solely by a profit-making corporation. Their algorithm made them $66 billion last quarter. I just checked. However, by contrast, the LibGuides get built solely to match your preferences and the needs of your students. As subject experts, you know best. Google will point students to whoever paid them the most. They get to the top of the page. The algorithm controls that. A LibGuide points students to your vetted resources. It reflects your values, and it reflects your experience and your professional judgment about the information that matters in your program and to your students. LibGuides could be a curated repository of documents and information sources. This can be very specific. We can embed PDFs, Word documents, whatever your students need to have ready access to, sort of a single point of focus or a point of need that can deliver the goods for them. Materials in the library that are relevant to your subject area or your discipline, we've got them. The whole collection's built around them. We're thinking of all the time, what's the best for the different programs? And the LibGuides are a great way to show or highlight that. It singles out those resources, pulls them out of the clutter, and organizes them in a useful way for your students. And well, you've got advisory committees. They can see your guides. They're openly accessible on the web. So you can show what your program's all about to your advisors or to national accreditors for your program. They can get a real sense of what you're doing and ask you questions about it. There's pictures, there's links. It's a valuable way, I think, potentially to highlight or shine a light on the good work that you're doing in this very very presentable way. So to sum it all up, I'd say LibGuides can make things easier. If they make sharing easier for you and the information that you share is relevant, why then that's a win for everyone. The library has the nice feeling of thinking that we were actually able to take part in that and take some of the heavy lifting, as far as putting the thing together off your shoulders and just make it easier for you. So that's my case for value. Now, there's a default library guide already. A LibGuide is on every page of every Canvas class. And it's there on the left-hand navigation bar. So it's pretty easy to find. The Bates Library Help is the link that'll take you to our main library LibGuide. And you might be wondering why it's called Bates Library Help. And the answer is that the faculty on our library advisory committee considered all the possible options for naming it. And this was the one that they preferred. And I had suggested that it should be a gateway to enlightenment, but that got no traction whatsoever. I think it's too highfalutin. So it's Bates Library Help. Maybe that's probably the best decision in the end. Oh, and this, by the way, that's a little mini plug for, I've got information literacy modules in Canvas that are 1 credit material each. And if you're interested in that, ask me about it later. They're just open, anyone can use them. Just add them to a class. Anyway, back to the subject. What you just saw there, when you click the link in any Canvas page, takes you to this, start here. And this is the top of the page that we'd be seeing. And these 15 little innocent looking tabs up here in blue are packed with all the information that your students might need about the library and its services. Got your open hours, computer borrowing, borrowing books, using the lab space, borrowing equipment such as hotspots, there's a lot of things that the library can offer you and your students, and they're detailed here in all these pages, web pages and links and tabs. So they just hint, what you're seeing here is like the tip of the iceberg for all the services that are available. If you have any quick questions that come to mind right now, maybe I could answer them at this point. Does this bring any question to mind? You see this database tab here? It's this one at the end. If we have time at the end, I'd like to go back and show you that one live. A great deal of the library's electronic resources are hidden in that one little tab. Oh, over half the budget, annual budget, goes into those databases, and there's tremendous stuff there. This is one part of library services, though. And this whole thing is built in. What you're seeing there is a library guide. That's a look at the database and online tools tab. If we were able to scroll down from here, these are just the two biggest databases we've got. With each one has millions of information sources. They're like the 600-pound gorillas of academic database searching. And they're really expensive, but they're fabulous. This one here, Noodle Tools, is to help students who have to do citations. It's terrific, an online tool. There's plenty more down there if we were to scroll down there. So maybe we can look at it later, but see. Now, when it comes down to programs, a guide can be built around the needs at the program level that you have. It's customized to highlight all the resources that match the information needs of your students in that specific program. We create these on request, and they could be used as a standalone resource that can promote your program curriculum. I'd like to lead you through the tabs on this one for Machinist. We're looking at the top of this one now, but I'd like to show you some samples of the resources on all these other tabs. It might give you a few ideas. Now, Dan had wanted a program of study form to be available. Yep.
Before you go on, you've kind of inferred this, but I think we may want to state it directly.
Yes.
You're about to show them what a LibGuide looks like. How do the students get there? Do they just click on that link to the left, or do they have to click on anything? How do the students get to this exact point you're about to show them?
Yes. Now, if they're in a list of LibGuides, and you saw that list there, which we've got that published. The library guides are on a tab right here. I'll show you. Library guides here, and they're all listed there. It's quite a list. If they click Machinist, they go straight to Machinist. However, there's a little wrinkle there. It's possible to take that Machinist guide and bring it directly, to skip these intermediate steps and bring it directly to the students in the Machinist program canvas. The default link, right, can be changed from right here, start here. Instead of delivering them there when they click the left-hand nav bar link, it can go straight to the Machinist guide at the instructor's discretion. So that's another way they could get there. Don't have to go to the library guides tab here and find Machinist. We can change the default, which is this one we're looking at here, for a specialized one. And that's an option that, everyone attending here, that option's open to you to have that done. Let's flip a switch, and you've gone from something more generic to something custom tailored for you. We'll do it. Let's take care of it. You just say the word. So here's that next tab, Program of Study. That's an embedded PDF that Machinist students can download. Here on library shelves in the Machinist Guide, I picked some of these books that I thought would be the most relevant. If students want to do a search, just say on machinery, this does the work for them. Hit that and you see everything in our collection related to that. And they can search the catalog in this box. There's another tab right next to it in which Skilled Machinist talks about getting started in the career and gives beginners advice there. And that's just one of the videos in one of our databases, Films on Demand. We embed the code here in the guide, and it plays directly inside the guide. The library subscribes to this digital magazine. Students can access it through links here. Search for articles, videos on the subject. This next tab, Finding Articles, has a few samples of what's available from our databases from these publications. In many cases, the trade journals or magazines, we can get back issues and every single article and every single issue for many, many years. It's all part of the giant databases like ProQuest or Academic Search Premier. They have thousands of journals like that with full access, electronic. And none of that, by the way, is available from Google. They didn't pay for it. Bates College did through the library budget. Now, here we went a little crazy with potentially useful websites, thinking of what might help the machinist program students. Lots of examples here. Lots of active links to save them the trouble, maybe, but they're looking for a job. Now, by contrast, that was a program guide. If we went really narrow, it could be a course guide. In this case, it's to support Peter Spielman's Psych 100 and Psych 200 only. So Peter made the decision to swap out the default guide that you saw that's now linked on every Canvas page, Bates Library Help, for this one. We flip the switch, and this is what his students see in their Canvas pages if they hit Bates Library Help. Let's have a look at some of these tabs here. I think it's nice when instructors have a headshot, office hours, something like that, and an introduction. When I was over at Shoreline, we added it's a recorded audio. So the students just click right here and they hear the message. They hear your voice and welcoming them to the program or their library guide, saying click the tabs to see and get in touch with me or whatever. Hope you enjoy the program. And it's really very personal, very warm. And that's an option I'd love to do here. If anyone was interested in it, they click somewhere up here and they could hear your welcome message. It doesn't take long to do it all. Just a few sentences. Library resources for Psych. Some samples here. Streaming videos for Psych in here. Oh, this one, 50 Psych Classics, it must be good because it's gotten stolen. I showed a guy, this book's terrific. It like summarizes all the great psychological theories and the psychiatrists, right, of the last 100 years. And it was gone, never came back. So I had to buy another copy. And very short introductions. You see this one here on the right? This book series is tremendous, and we've got a big investment in it. It was a gamble, but they really circulate. People really like them. They're pocket-sized. They're easy to digest. They're slim volumes, well illustrated, and written by experts. And worldwide, these things are just very popular, very highly regarded. And people are checking them out a lot. So it's really gratifying. If you have got any kind of I'll bet there's something for just about every subject there. It's just comprehensive as heck. And there's a spinner of them at the South Library and downtown. Finding articles. These are some examples of articles and journals that are in our databases for Psych. Some tips here for students who are searching to find Psych articles. And for students who have to cite things, here's our APA page and a link to Noodle Tools that makes that a whole lot easier for them. I like this page because it's really information literacy about how to know if the information they're finding is reliable and credible, suitable for college level writing, or if it's just junk. I made this little critical thinking checklist, which is downloadable. It has some questions that students can ask as they're evaluating a resource to figure out which is which, whether it's bunk or if it's credible. And this was popular versus scholarly and peer-reviewed articles. That little bit came straight from Peter. In fact, he worked with Michelle Reed, the library technician at Central, to dial this in and suit his preferences. He made suggestions, added resources, and I checked with Michelle this morning. Apparently, he's very happy with it and enjoyed the process thoroughly. So, and he's sort of our poster child for a course guide that's narrow in focus. So this is an easy answer. How to get it? Just ask the library. There's really nothing to it. We'll make one on spec. We know how busy you are. So if you say, I'd be willing to take a look at something if you customize it, and I'll decide later if I prefer the default, the general, guide that's there already, or whatever you come up with. And if I have time, maybe I'll work with you a little bit or tell you what to take out or whatever. We're good with that. All you have to do is get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. Just pick up the phone, dial 7301. Say the word, library's got your back, and we can bring a library guide, a LibGuide with customized resources straight into your Canvas classes.